Hello everybody. I was asked to do a demonstration of how I do this sort of technique with acrylic paints. I just kind of swipe it on with the edge of a credit card. This is the first time I've ever done a video, so forgive me for the weird angles. I don't really have the equipment or anything I need to do this, but I'm going to do my best to show you the techniques I use and maybe answer any questions if you have them. So again, I'm going to be showing this sort of look technique. This is an old Bible I have from Bible college that's falling apart, but I love it. It has all my notes in it, and it's just always going to be with me. So this part right here, the believe, was stamped and embossed. So it's a little bit raised, and I can show you that technique in another video if this works. Hopefully it does. Okay, so I start out with just some basic acrylic paints, not very much on a plate. I have all sorts of brands. It's just kind of whatever is cheap and appeals to me. So I have some Craftsmart brands. I have several of the Apple Barrel brands. I think there's some folk art here. And then looks like Anita's. Again, I don't really have a brand preference. I just go with whatever looks clever. So I'm going to flip to a page. Let's go with that one. I haven't prepped these pages. I do like to use clear gesso to prep my pages, but with the acrylics, I find that they don't really seem to bleed through, and they seem to dry nicer without prepping the pages. So most of the time I always use clear gesso, but if I'm only going to be doing the acrylics, they usually are light enough that I don't need to, and I like the way that they kind of soak into the page a little better if I don't prep the page. So I have a little gift card. It's old, it's definitely been used, and I just use the edge of a gift card, dip it in the paint on my plate, and then just kind of swipe it onto my page. Hopefully you can see this okay. I'll do it on this side. I don't really have any method of order of colors or patterns. I just kind of smear it on with the edge of a credit card. I have a wet paper towel here that I'm kind of dabbing the edge off on in between colors. And I really like the acrylic paint because usually you can still read through it. Some of the darker colors you might have to make sure you get a thinner layer, like this purple or this teal. You'll want to make sure that it's not gunked up in one specific spot, but otherwise it's pretty transparent to where you can still see the words. Like I said, this is an old Bible. I have plenty of others, including a journaling Bible, but I do have a lot of handwritten notes in this one, and always want to be able to make sure I can read those handwritten notes that left over from my Bible college days and all the things that I learned and God spoke to me during that season of my life. And kind of mix and match colors till I like the look. I usually kind of go back and forth between the two pages, but I am trying to stick mostly to this side just for the purposes of it seems to be easier to see on the camera. Get some more of this blue. I like blue is my favorite color. I tend to pick purple a lot, but if someone were to ask me my favorite color, I would always say blue. I'm gonna use the edge of my wet paper towel to kind of smear this because it got too thick and I want to still be able to read the words. So I'm just gonna wipe a little bit of it off, smear it so I can still see through. There we go. And if you use a lot of the lighter colors, they definitely are easy to read through. Like I said, the darker colors are easier to read through still if you make sure that it's a thin enough layer. I like to use a lot of light colors as a background and then do something over it, whether it's applying a napkin, whether it's stamping, whether it's writing, but just to give my background a little pop of color. I think I'm gonna go with what I have. Actually, I'm gonna put a little purple down here, and then I'm using the other side to kind of smear it, make sure that it doesn't get too dark. And if it does get too dark, even after smearing it with the dry side, I'll go back in with the wet paper towel and just kind of wipe it up. I'm gonna put little smudges throughout the page. I'm homesick today. My husband and I both have been not feeling well, so forgive my raspy voice. And thankfully it kind of worked out because now I have time to do these demonstrations for you guys. And I think I want a little bit of pink in the middle of my page, right about here. And right now I'm using the wet paper towel that's already full of paint. This dries really quickly. I do sometimes use my heat gun to dry, or a blow dryer would probably work too. This is my heat gun. I use it for embossing. I don't think a blow dryer works for embossing. I haven't tried it, but I don't believe that will work. But for the sake of drying a page, drying gesso, drying paint, drying ink, the blow dryer or the heat gun should work. But like I said, this dries pretty quickly. In fact, most of it is dry. There's only a few spots that are still kind of damp. I'm gonna go ahead and turn off the page now, and hopefully I can figure out how to load this video. If I can figure out how to load and everything works properly, then I will see about maybe doing an illustration for the embossing that I do. I use embossing powder, clear specifically, as sort of a resist, and so it kind of will highlight certain verses I want, or protect an image from becoming inked up with anything else. I use a lot of distress inks and I love them, but I sometimes will use stamps as a form of resist so I can create a cool pattern before I use the distress inks. Thanks for watching, guys. Let me know if you have any questions. God bless you.